What's up?
What's
up? What's up, everybody?
What's going on? Man, y'all know it's Cincinnati Open time. Cincinnati, and we was at the tennis match. We went Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday we went with the kids, so it was pretty cool. We got to see Coco Golf practicing. So after she got done practicing, she was able to take pictures and sign autographs. So Imani and Freddie got their picture taken with her, and they signed their autograph, which was cool. We all had on Coco Golf t-shirts, so it was pretty cool. You know, she kind of walked up to them. She's like, "Oh man," she like, "Cool shirts, guys." So,
were they were the girls versing like who she is?
Oh yeah, like we go every year, so we
that'd be awesome. That's like
we've been because we went the year she won the whole thing in Cincinnati. The girls, we actually went and seen her play that year. And then the last couple years, we buy our tickets so far in advance, we don't know the schedule, so we've been missing her play.
Okay.
But like we got to see her actually practice, which I like was probably like way better because it was like up close and personal, kind of a little more intimate setting. Because we like right here on the front row, and she like right there, so you like hearing her talking and laughing with her coaches while she practicing. So it was pretty cool. She actually ended up losing last night, Friday night. So, and the crazy thing is, we went to see the girl who she was playing. We went to see her practice and got autographs from her too.
That's nice.
So,
that's good for the girls.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I know. I'm hoping I can get Freddie into tennis.
All right. What did they sign? What did Coco sign?
They got like it's like a card with pictures of herself on it, almost like it's like, I guess, compared to traded cards that we used to have when we was younger. So it's like that. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool event overall. And then they updated the facility last year, so it's even better.
That'd be nice. I've never been to a professional tennis match. Put it that way, like that.
Yeah,
but
and I like it because it's a whole day. It's a whole day experience. So you know, when you go to like basketball or football games, like you know, you buy your ticket and then you stay for like 3 hours and then you go home. So where like this one, we got there like 11, and we didn't go home. We didn't get home till like 10 at night. Probably a little after 10 at night. Yeah. Okay. So it's like a whole So because you're watching like all the stars, you get to see all the stars playing.
So paying one price to see a whole lot of matches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sound like they had a really, really good event. Your girls did and y'all did, going to that tennis match in Cincinnati. But let's start the show. All right, everybody. What's up, everybody? This is the Brothers and Friends podcast. Yes. Today we got Fred. What's up, Fred?
Hey. What's going on, everybody?
We good. We got Gary in the building today. What's up, Gary?
What's up, everybody? Hey, let's get it started.
Yes. Greg, how are you feeling today, man?
What up, guys? Back in the building. Let's go.
Let's get it. LFG, what up, Chris?
Yo, what it do, man? Happy to be here.
Yes. We are all happy to be here. Greg.
Yes. If you couldn't tell by the energy in our voices, he told you directly. We are, in fact, happy to be here.
I love Josh's transitions.
But
Hot
no.
takes.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Greg, you got a topic you want to talk about today?
So, there's been some debate and some I don't know, navel gazing and re-examining of old shows back from the 80s and 90s, and how certain characters were treated. There was some news that came out recently, centered around Ari Lennox and her critique of the Martin show, and how Pam was treated much differently than Gina. And so yeah, just wanted to kind of get y'all's take on that. Like, did y'all feel any certain way about how Pam was treated? Do you think she was treated fairly?
I'll chime in real quick. To me, when I heard it, I was trying to find where Pam was actually treated differently. I would say, and we all know the back and forth that if you watch the show that Martin and Pam, um, that was like their character. Their characters was to go back and forth. The boyfriend and the best friend, and I believe that um, Pam went at Martin just as much as Martin went at Pam, and it was like everybody had their stick. So it was like Gina had an apple head, Martin was short, Pam was everything under the sun. You might as well say maybe BDB or whatever Martin threw at her. Um, Tommy had no job and Cole was stupid. So I think it was evenly distributed, in my opinion.
Now, see, I disagree, and the reason why is because I feel like, I mean, it's hard to compare. One, because there was only two women on the cast, right? And one was somebody's girlfriend. So she's automatically not going to be disrespected in front of her boyfriend by anybody else. So, like, her treatment is already going to automatically be better than Pam's just because she was a friend of. But I think her treatment was a bit overkill, just because her treatment was always based on her looks and calling and perceiving her as ugly when she was not ugly in the least. Martin is short in real life. He's short. Like, can't get around that. Gina's head was large. She had a big ass head. That's what it was. But Pam was not ugly. But that was her thing. And I think, speaking to the time in that era, because it wasn't just that Martin show, but I think, like, dark skinned women on television in general weren't particularly looked at as the ideal partner, or the one to be sought after. It was always the Gina type. So I think when you have a light skinned Gina character standing next to Pam and you're calling Pam ugly, it's always going to it's gonna hit differently.
See, in my opinion on that is I just didn't get that from the show. I get what you're saying as far as like colorism and the light girl always being the video girl or the star, you know, star girlfriend or wife of the show or whatever. I totally agree with that, and I think there's a space for it. I just think Martin would be a bad example. The show Martin would be a bad example of it. Even though Gina it was light skinned was the girl was the girl. I think the cast kind of distributed all of their angst to it, and I didn't see it as they called Pam ugly. Shoot, there would I remember in my circle, uh, all the guys I knew had a crush on Pam.
Okay, now first of all, like, this conversation, we have to acknowledge, like, what the truth of the show was, and if we can't even respect that the man was calling her ugly, then I'm not sure, like, where we could go from here, because he called her a dog. Like, does no one else think that the joke was Pam was supposed to be ugly?
I took it as ugly to him, and I thought it was a brilliant way that they had their dynamic because that was her girl's best friend. So it's a way to show the audience that he had no attraction. There wasn't no side creeping and all that kind of stuff. It, you know, like the way that they do in the script or whatever. Like, and it paid off for when they did the episode of where he had the dream that he was actually attracted to Pam. You know, and they had some pretty hot and steamy scenes. You know, that kind of was an episode to kind of show. And then also, I remember Pam got chosen. Remember Tommy. So Pam, you know, got her love from Tommy, right? And even Cole, who kept trying to push up on her.
Yeah,
that she kept, you know.
But being chose doesn't negate colorism. Just because they wrote a character to finally decide to choose you many seasons in, by the way. Like, it wasn't like they started the show together, but they didn't fall in love until like what, season 3, 4. It wasn't soon. It was after, you know, everybody had did their thing. So I'm just saying, like, I get what you're trying to say, but like Pam got it the worst. If you don't think so, I don't think you've watched the show recently. Like, nobody was talking about Pam as nobody talked about anybody.
To tell you
Pam had Pam.
I think
Cole. All they talked about with Cole was his obese girlfriend, and he was dumb.
Yeah,
and he did dumb things, but like he showed you how dumb he was. Like, it wasn't like it was right, but Pam's character is her face, like who she is, and she was not ugly. So like the all I'm saying is I understand the critique, because again, optics. It was the time of it was that era where dark skinned girls especially just weren't valued.
I agree with Greg. You know, when you think about like the 90s shows, like, you know, Denise on the Cosby Show, she was, you know, the attractive daughter, portrayed as the attractive daughter. And then A Different World, Whitley, you know, light skin, was the attractive character on A Different World. So
see, I would have to disagree, Chris. I was a Kim. I was a Kim guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So yeah, in that context, I feel like they did go after Pam harshly because of her skin color, but I also see it from Gary's perspective, where the premise of the show is, you know, boyfriend versus best friend.
Yeah, I kind of in that same, like I said, kind of agree with Chris. Like, I'm in the middle. Like, I see like that they were treating her unfairly because of her color.
Would you say it was because of her color though? Because Martin is the same color as Pam.
Well, yeah, but I think because of the time, it was the color part. Because of when it was on air.
And yeah, Martin's the same color as him, but dating who? This high yellow chick over here. So it's like, I think of course.
I think there's two conversations to be had. The colorism part, I actually agree with. Like, the fact of having a light skin, the light skinned girl was always the wife, the girlfriend, stuff like that. That's one thing. But was Pam mistreated? I don't think so. That's just in my opinion. To say the words mistreated, and because that she was the dark skinned one, is different. So okay, so I would move on to Living Single then. It would be the same thing with Kyle and Max. So was Max mistreated? Or was that just their dynamic, their characters?
And when you say mistreated, when you say mistreated, you mean mistreated like...
Well, I didn't say mistreated. That's why I'm responding to that word that was thrown out. Yeah. Yeah.
So is that like acting mistreated, or like mistreated behind the scenes? Like, because
no, I'm like saying the way, I guess, I don't know, whoever.
No, we're talking about where the jabs harsher towards this particular character versus other characters. And even in Living Single, I think it was, because you think about Max. Her insults were also centered around her looks, her hair, her look, and how unattractive she was. That was the dig towards the dark skinned girl on the show, where you have Queen Latifah, you have Kim Coles, and you have
Charmaine. Is that her name? I just know the characters.
No, Tootie Facts of Life.
Oh,
You have those three.
Regine.
Regine. You have three light-skinned characters who are never getting digs about their looks. Never. Not from anybody. No one's talking about how unattractive they are. But the dark-skinned girl on the show gets all of them.
So I just didn't look at it that way, because the very same person, because there was only one person that was going back at Max, and that was the very same person who looked like Max, who had the dark skin, dreads, everything that y'all said, and she talked about him, his penis size, and everything. So it to me, it was a back and forth. It was an equal back and forth. I never seen it to where they talked about Max looks. Matter of fact, Max, if I'm not mistaken, was the more promiscuous one on the show. So she came off as, I'm single, ready to mingle, was bold with her sexuality type personality. Whereas
what's that got to do with Sinclair? Her looks?
Sinclair was it's how she was portrayed on the show. So she was more sensuous, I guess, on the show, more eye appealing, I would guess to say. So whereas Sinclair she played the kind of, I don't want to say it like that, but goofy kind of chick or whatever. Whereas Queen Latifah was more of the stern entrepreneur, but yet she was, the type chick too. Then there was Regine.
Yeah, you're describing the characters of the show. I get the characters of the show. My point is that like how they treated each other is like. How did they? I just don't get how they treated one differently from the other. Because I'm looking at it in the scape of all of these shows combined. You pick the one dark-skinned character on the show and make it about her looks and how unattractive she is on these particular two shows, Martin and Living Single.
I think you have a case to be made. It's just that on these particular shows, I think they're bad examples because their antagonist they do the same thing to their antagonists as well. So Pam talked about Martin's looks.
Yeah, do they do it?
I don't think it was
right, but is it in defense of? Is it in defense of, or is it in attacking too?
Let me. I get in here real quick, and I'm gonna go back to the original show, which was the Martin show. And I'm actually agree with Gary. Now I would say I understand where the criticism is. I get the colorism and everything. When I watched Martin as a kid, all the way up until the comment was made, even like in my adult years, like I never looked at it as Pam was getting mistreated. And to this day, I don't see Pam being mistreated. I see just two people just snapping at each other. This is snapping. Now, Pam, when Martin, I've never hardly ever seen a show where Martin would say something to Pam and Pam would say something back and vice versa. Pam would come on the show and snap at Martin first and Martin would snap back. It's just back and forth. Now, granted, yes, it's a darker woman, but like I just see two people just snapping back at each other and just roasting each other. Now, you can make a point that it's a colorism and I can see that criticism, but I just feel like this show, I just don't look at it that way. And even after like the comment was made, I still don't look at it that way. I look at two people just snapping at each other who just don't like each other or just have just some disagreement. I just don't see it as colorism was being played in that one.
I mean, to be clear, like I'm not saying that like the creators of the show, the writers of the show, the actors in the show, and all of these people were like intending or their intentions were to be colorist towards Pam or anything like that. My point is that it contributed to colorism as a whole. When you objectively look at these shows and you look at what the beauty standard was for the time, like there's no way of avoiding that. Like the path for jokes was to make fun of the dark-skinned girl and her looks, because there was so many other things that you could be making fun of those characters about. Because Pam didn't have no boyfriend. She was single. I think she worked at the same place. Like there were other things you could be talking about, but it was always like the looks. And just in that time, it was easy as a society to laugh or not find dark-skinned women attractive. And so because if those same jokes were pointed at Gina or any of the light-skinned characters, they wouldn't get the same amount of laughs because they were light-skinned. The beauty standard was there for them.
I don't know, because I remember.
Well,
I want to say something real quick. I remember an episode where Gina was like ugly, when she had that teeth gentle and she was like ugly.
When
and
they
like,
put
they were making fun
prosthetics
of
on her face and literally made
what?
her ugly. Yeah,
Who cares?
that's
Who
the
cares?
point.
But
That's the point.
It's a joke of her being ugly, though. You're
Right,
talking about
but
a
my
joke,
point
but
is,
she's
Mo,
a
but-
joke at that point now, and it was
Josh,
funny.
Right, but my point is that you literally had to put ugly prosthetics on her to make her the joke. Whereas Pam just walks into the room with her actual face and she is ugly and that's the joke. They're not the same. You can't put, like, it's not the same. You put prosthetics all over her and made her look ugly. Yeah, she's ugly. Pam just walked in the room.
But they talked about her apple head all the time. That's what I'm saying. Like she got
It's not,
about.
and you think that's not the equivalent. To say someone's ugly versus you have a big head.
Okay, so if we talking about equal distribute, and two, you got to think of the characters. Why the only person that was talking about Pam was her antagonist, her competition, which is Martin. Why would Martin talk about his girlfriend? I think, to Chris's point before, if you switch the actors and you had put Martin and Pam as boyfriend and girlfriend, and Gina as the friend, it would still be the same. It would just be different jokes.
Yeah, because you can't call a dark-skinned girl ugly and make it funny. Like that wouldn't have, or you can't call a light-skinned girl ugly on that show and it would have been funny. That's my point.
And
it would not have worked.
To my point, I don't ever remember him saying that she was ugly. I just remember she said, like, he would just be like, well, you know what? You could use such as a guard dog or something like that or whatever. You know, whatever the little digs was. But
So because you don't remember him saying the words, Gary, come on, man. Like,
anything he
no,
said,
you call a woman a dog. You think she's pretty?
No, I'm thinking to him, he was established. The show established that Martin had no physical attraction to Pam, which was his girlfriend's friend. That's how I took it. Pam herself, just in her optic beauty, was beautiful to me. And it was undeniable because Cole was trying to get at her the whole show, right? The whole series and everything. And she kept pushing him out. Different men that would come in, the celebrities and things like that. Sometimes she would be the one on the single dates and different things like that. Even to the point where Tommy, who was her friend, who had always eyed her, not in desperation, like, okay, I'll finally go out with
He
you.
always eyed her.
Yes, he did. So that's not a real thing. That friends can be friends.
I mean, if it's on a sitcom, if they don't say it, I don't know if you can really say he's always been eyeing her. They're in the same room. He looked
But it
at her.
happens
But
in real life all the time where
But we're talking about a
You
sitcom.
start off with friends, and then when you get a chance to shoot your shot, he shot his shot.
Because the writers decided to make him shoot his shot.
Just to back up Gary, though, like, the only person who would talk about Pam would be Martin. No other man talked about Pam.
Right.
Everybody else wanted to get with
right. But Martin
Pam
is also the title character of the show. He's the main character of the show. So, like, any thoughts or feelings.
But the background of the show was them to have beef. So they're always gonna have beef. If the background of the show to have beef, they're gonna have beef.
And
they can't have, and Martin couldn't have beef with Pam about anything other than her looks.
What else are you gonna talk about, though? What else would you talk about Pam?
She's beautiful, so it made it even more fun.
I mean, like, name me something you would talk about Pam.
They would have had to expand on her story in the show for him to talk about anything else.
Right? Like,
so they would have to show her at work.
And that show was on for years. I mean, like, I get it, like, sure, but I mean, I think. I'm not really sure.
I feel like, to be honest with you, I felt like the society would have any type of judgmental on Pam. Let's say Pam don't have a job. Oh, now the black women don't have a job. It could have been anything that you could have digged at Pam. Society would have been like, well, why are you digging at this dark woman for that? You just, like, to me, it just feel like it was just her looks. But anybody else, you go to any other person that Pam looks that Martin chose to dig in. But it's like, if you would have chose anything the writer would have chose anything for Pam, Shay said she didn't have the job or she was stupid. It would have been like, well, why the dark women had to been that way? So it would have to have been something everybody had.
No.
Yes, it would. Yes,
It
it
would
would.
have, because who was standing up
With
for
the switch.
Pam when she was getting
So-
picked on for being ugly the whole time?
Well, I'm
If that was
saying,
the
if they
case,
would've
then people would have been.
switched-
No, hold on. If people, if there was like a level of equal outrage and saying like, hold on, you can't place a black woman in a position where she has no job or she's stupid, but we're okay with her being in a position of being compared to a dog. Like, I
that
mean,
ain't what
I didn't
Josh
say
said.
that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying society would have picked any reason. You could have did any reason.
but
Any
society
reason
didn't
would've
pick
had
any
it.
reason. There was no backlash until recently. There was none. There was no backlash.
Because nobody said nothing.
Because nobody saw it.
Because
that way.
everyone was fine with it, and that's the
Nobody saw it
point.
that way, right?
Right? No, but right.
So we talking about a young girl, Ari Lennox, who's looking at it from a lens of today's thing. You know what I mean? And I don't even know how old she is, but she looks young enough to not even have watched the show in its prime.
Well, it's
So-
on streaming,
I'm
so
like-
you can be 5 years old and watch the show. Like,
Yeah, but
age
but
isn't
no,
really a
that's-
necessary.
Yeah, but
it's
he's
not a
talking about
factor.
he's talking about during the times that it was out.
Yeah,
To put in the context what life was like back then is what Gary's saying.
yeah, because I
Sure.
would, to tell you the truth, I would have understood it more if they did the whole, they talked about the Shanae role. And let's say if he went back at Shanae like, you ugly and this, that, and the other, that would have been a little bit more uncomfortable for me. Because now you're talking about the stereotypical, let's say, and I don't want to say, well, I guess I said it, the stereotypical black chick role, ghetto chick role that he did with Shanae, right? And the fact that it hits harder if you're actually ugly. Because he, you know what I mean? And if he goes at her hard about her looks, if that makes any sense, I would have seen more. I would have expected more outrage for that than I would for Pam, because Pam was actually beautiful. It was just Martin's preference to not like Pam. That's how I viewed it.
Yeah, I mean, on its face, yeah, I'm sure that was the intent of the show. The intent was not to be colorist. My point at the end of the day is it all contributed to colorism as a whole.
Then we can have that conversation as well, because that's where we agree. I believe the roles that were chosen were based off of how all the other shows were. It was like the light-skinned girl always got the guy, or the hero saves this kind of fair-skinned maiden kind of thing. So I agree with you on that end. I just think, once again, these shows are kind of bad examples of that.
Do you feel like the Shanae role played an example of the whole black man got to dress up in a dress?
It did, because that was a topic.
I was talking to Greg.
Oh, go ahead.
Marcel.
Repeat your question?
Did the Shanae role did the Shanae character played a role in black man having to wear a dress to get into Hollywood?
No. There's tons of black men in Hollywood that haven't put
That's
on
the
a
point.
dress.
That's kind of the point, is what he's saying.
Right. So like so what I'm saying is, if you're saying no to that, so how does colorism is a yes on that situation? Because they both are kind of like the same. In my opinion, both are kind of like,
because when you're looking at a show like Martin, the title character is the person who is going after one of two women on this show. One woman is a light-skinned woman who happens to be his love interest, and another is a dark-skinned woman that he is constantly remarking about her appearance, her looks, her hair, everything. That contributes to, when people watch the show, it feeds into an already existing beauty standard that exists within America. You can not, whether you believe it or not, that's fine, but like, you're also married to a light-skinned woman. So like it may have actually fed into your belief. Maybe it didn't. But the facts of the matter is that at that time, that was what would have been funny. You could not have switched those roles and had Martin going after a light-skinned woman saying those same jokes and it'd be funny.
Because
I don't
honestly,
believe that.
I feel like
rewatching the show. I feel like rewatching the show. I don't think Martin was the only one. I feel like Stan, and then I forget the white engineer. He went after Pam too. So, the argument that Martin was the only one making fun of Pam doesn't stand either. I think other people.
I gotta go back and I
feel
don't
like
know
other
about
people-
that one.
I feel like
I
other
don't
people
know
was
about that,
on.
Chris.
I
Because
think
I thought Stan liked Pam. Stan wanted to be with Pam. I don't think he piled on to Pam. I don't.
What
I
about
gotta
the
go back to the
engineer,
episodes.
the white guy?
I don't remember the white engineer making fun of Pam either. He was barely on the show.
Yeah,
I gotta go back.
him. But
Gotta
my
go back
thing
and
is,
watch
I
them
think that
shows.
it would be. I would see that if it was unfairly like driven towards Pam. I think it was evenly distributed throughout the whole show. It was everybody would pile on everybody, and it was
Yeah,
like,
it's
it was
not
just
about a
who's
fair
turn.
and unfair balance. It's not. I'm not saying that like everybody piled on Pam. I'm saying in the optics of watching a television show as American viewer, you are watching a show where the main character is comparing the dark skinned woman on the show to a dog. That feeds into your belief
I think you've been too
in what.
intellectual about it.
It's not about being too intellect. This is what actually happens. This is reality.
Listen,
it's not about. Did you watch the show? I'm
Yeah,
sure.
It's like
So listen to the way you just described it. He is comparing her to a
That's what happened on the show. He compared her to a dog.
So here's the thing. Martin is a comedian. So
Okay,
he's a comedian.
all right.
So as you said, as the star of the show, he does what he does on stage. He rips on people, and he ripped on everybody.
He did not rip on everybody.
He ripped on.
We
his
cannot
own
have.
girlfriend.
We can't have an intellectual conversation if we can't be honest about what we're talking about here. Because if you're gonna say that Martin ripped into Pam the same way he ripped into Tommy, the way he ripped into Cole, the way he ripped into Gina, you are not being intellectually. You're not being intellectually honest. And we can't have a conversation there because you haven't watched the show or you're not being honest.
And my thing is this. Okay, so in that vein, you are proving my point. That was her role, as those two were the main enemies on the show. So of course he would go at her more because she went at him more. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
There was
but Martin
nobody...
did go. Yeah, Martin did go against everybody, but Pam was the only one that would really come back at him. Like Tommy would a little bit,
right?
Tommy,
she was the only one who had to defend herself because she was the one always around. I mean, we can't have a show where like he's picking on her and she says nothing.
So Tommy never defended Pam.
3-4 seasons in.
Once they got together, yeah. Once they got
Thank
together.
you. Why is that?
And again, what does that have to do with anything? Like we're talking about colorism, and you're talking about a man coming to the defense of a woman. Like that has nothing to do with the Constantine of China. We're talking about Martin, who is going after a dark-skinned woman on the show. What does that have to do with another nigga who wants to be with her? That has nothing to do with nothing. We're not talking about.
These are two different topics. I feel
like
we're not talking.
Here.
So let me respond to what he said. Go ahead. So you keep saying it like Martin was going after Pam solely because she was dark. No,
I didn't say that
because she went after him.
I didn't say he only went after. No, I did not just say that.
You said he went after her looks.
This dark girl.
I said he went after her looks. And he went after her. There are two women on the show. How many women can he go after? He can only go after the dark one or the light one. And the light one is his girlfriend. So he's going after the dark one. Shanae is not a woman. So there was only two women.
Ooh.
Big Shirley.
Big Shirley. Yep. Look. Martin's mama.
And he made a lot of jokes about Big Shirley too.
I think to Greg's what Greg is trying to put out there is like unconsciously put it out into the world as we're watching. We might not consciously know that we're like digging these dark-skinned women over the light-skinned women, but the show unconsciously fed that into your brain waves.
That's why I said it's two different subject matters. If you want to talk about colorism as far as like the casting, I'm with you. 100%, I'm with you. It fed into the stereotype that the light-skinned girl gets the guy, the best friend that still look for a man is the dark-skinned girl, all of that stuff. But it also fed into stereotypics of like Tommy, you ain't got no job, all that kind of stuff. So men being the provider, all that kind of stuff.
It goes back to what I think Josh said. Like it's jokes, and what when you make jokes, you're gonna go after somebody's either physical or what they're wearing, and that unfortunately fell on Pam,
Which
no. If you no.
I don't think it fell on Pam
because there's so many other things you could joke about. You can't
like what. like when you're capping on someone, when you're roasting someone
Here's
on the
the thing.
playground, you go after their looks, right?
Right?
Yeah, I'm
No.
not.
Right, but
Yeah,
right,
so-
but this is,
Yeah.
but we're talking about a sitcom versus capping on the playground, where a sitcom has writers. You write a story. If you want to have, if you want
Wait,
to
hold
give
on,
her a
hold on,
backstory
hold
to
on.
give jokes, here, let me tell you how to write a sitcom. So you write a story, you give them a backstory. If you want to make jokes about, I don't know, her not having a man or not having a job or doing all these other things, then you write stories that center around them so you have jokes to tell about them. The reason there was no stories told, or you only had her looks, because that's what was given to you. Like it wasn't because Pam had nothing else to offer as jokes. Like
We're
it was
talking
because
about,
that's
like,
what was given to you.
but right, we're talking about like the pilot, the first seasons of the show. Like you can't build that into the a 30-minute show. What Martin did is he's doing a stand up in a sitcom format. So he's just doing, his stand up show, but in a sitcom format. He's got 30 minutes to do it. So he's going to do the quick jokes, and the quick jokes are physical appearance.
Yeah, and those are ad libs. That wasn't a lot of that wasn't in the script.
If it was physical appearance, then that would have been the joke for everybody. If that was the only thing he could, it was not the only thing. Because nobody talked about what Cole looked like. Nobody was joking about.
So wait a minute.
Not as much. They did, but
not as much. But there were other things they were talking
Wait a minute.
about.
So they didn't talk about Tommy's bald head and stuff like that, right?
They talked about him not having a job. You see how there's him not having anybody he's dating. Like there are other things you could talk about. Like to say like there's nothing else to talk about but what they look like. That's lazy excuse making.
I mean,
like you're just
Martin
making
has
an
some
excuse
jokes about Pam not having a man.
Sure, yes, there are one-off jokes. We're talking about the main theme of the jokes that were told towards these characters. If that's what we're talking about.
To me, I got it as it was to establish that Martin did not have any physical attraction to Pam, which was his girlfriend's best friend. So for the viewer, the unconscious viewer or whatever, you would never think that Martin was cheating on Pam. Because they were so you get what I'm saying? They're mortal enemies. So it had a good payoff. So that when they did the final show where he was having the dream and they didn't realize when they first played it out, you didn't know it was a dream. And you like, well, what the heck is going on? Martin and Pam is about to kiss, and all of a sudden he wakes up. That was the payoff for that particular joke. Is they're that mortal enemies. But then in every other aspect, they got each other's back too, like brother and sister. Remember when the rat or the little kookaberry or whatever it was that came into the little cabin and they was fighting it and everything like that? They would always team up. You get what I'm saying? If somebody came against one or the other, there was even an episode where Pam, I guess, got brainwashed or something or hypnotized or whatever, and she started acting like Martin. And they was cool with each other, like, yeah, So I think in subtle ways they showed Pam's value. Like we just said, all of us have just said, everybody on the show, even down to Jerome, tried to get with Pam. I think that was the whole nature of the joke is Pam was beautiful, so to talk about her wouldn't really do a disservice to her.
That was
because
not the
everybody
joke.
could really.
That was not the joke. You are rewriting history. If you think that was the joke, you are rewriting. The joke was she was so beautiful that like everybody had to say how ugly she was, and that was the joke. Gary, okay, all right, cool, you right. I'm gonna take that because that is
everyone did say how ugly. Only Martin was the one that's saying she was ugly.
Thank you.
That was not.
Everybody on the show was trying to get.
That was not the joke, bro. Like, I'm sorry.
Even
I don't know what time y'all were living in, but in the 90s, there was no fucking joke talking about how beautiful a black woman was. So let's call her ugly because that's the joke. Like, bro, what are y'all even talking about? Like, what really? What are we saying? What are we saying right now?
I agree with colorism, but around my circle, it was like this: Max was fine, Kim was fine on A Different World, and Pam was fine. The people that I was around wasn't Gina people.
No dark skinned family?
Why does it got to be my family? I said the people, like friends around that time. Yeah, like the guys and stuff. The guys' conversations about the show was Pam is fine.
Did you have this feeling? I'm sorry, Gary. Did you have this feeling before she made that comment? about the Martin show?
Hmm?
Greg, did you have that feeling before she made that comment about the Martin show?
I mean, I kind of always knew it.
You always
I
knew
mean,
that?
just yeah. I mean, just because you look at a show where you just have two women and one's dark skin, light skin, and I mean, it just kind of made sense to me.
I never to this day, I still, when I look at the show,
I mean,
I'm like,
but
I
it wasn't.
don't.
It's not like a thing where it's like, oh, this show is so offensive. But I mean, it's. I mean, all I'm saying at the end of the day is that like it just played into the stereotypes of colorism. It's the whole reason why the jokes are funny. Again, if you reverse the actors, they would not be as funny, and no one's gonna convince me otherwise. Like it just wouldn't work.
But we would never know because it never happened.
You would never know, yeah.
So,
Now I would say this: the same character, Tisha Campbell, also did a movie back in the day, School Days, old movie, where they were in college, and it literally focused on colorism.
Oh, that reminds me.
Sororities and stuff.
Well, House Party, the dark skinned girl I felt like was more attractive than Tisha Campbell's character.
Now you see how you've been sitting here all that whole time trying to think of a movie where a dark skinned girl got some play.
You gotta be sitting
Over,
all the
like,
time,
but I'm saying like, bro,
He just when he said when he just said Tisha Campbell, I just was
there
like,
was this one
color.
movie back in the 80s. Yeah, she was dark skinned and people liked her.
I think it was a whole lot of dark-skinned women that just did not get shine. They were there, they just didn't get the shine. That's so. If you want to do the colorism role, I believe there is a such thing as colorism. I just believe other people, like in Chris's opinion, like you said.
I feel like both things can exist. Both of your arguments exist. You know, like there was definitely an underlying colorism in that generation, but you know, like Gary said, you know, they were just jokes.
But this conversation, the whole conversation, this whole time been two different topics. It's been one on colorism and one on just dogging Pam out her looks.
Yes.
So y'all comparing them and y'all butting heads trying to compare the topics when y'all both talking about two separate things.
That's why I keep saying I agree with colorism. Like Pam as a dark-skinned woman being
right. We keep butting heads because Gary keeps trying to rewrite the story. Like everyone was in love with Pam. The reasons why everyone was saying she was ugly was because she was so beautiful, and everybody knew she was so beautiful that the joke was that only Martin thought that she was ugly. And
but Gary's talking about her looks. You talking about her color. So y'all butting heads because of that.
Putting out that all of the jokes was about her looks. And I'm like, okay, so if all the jokes was and the jokes overpowered her looks, then why did every single character?
But I think it's his looks, her looks of being dark skinned. It's her complexion more so than her looks. I feel like
the overall.
So
I'm not saying every joke about her was about her looks. I'm saying the overarching theme was that she was ugly. That was the theme.
No, and I think that's where me and you disagree. I believe that Martin thought she was ugly.
And nobody else.
Nobody else.
Who else is joking on her? That's what we're talking about. I don't want to talk about this no more. Can we be done?
I'm about to say, I was going to say, can we wrap this up?
Wrap this up.
So wait a minute.
So
you basing everything on just Martin's perspective.
The show is called Martin. The main character is Martin. Okay. You said the only person who made fun of her was Martin. No, the person who thought she was ugly was Martin.
I didn't say that. I said Martin was her mortal enemy. So you get more back and forth with her and Martin because that was their character roles. But everybody talked about everybody.
I'm about to use AI to end this debate. Is that the show itself did not directly make jokes about Pam's skin color. They often focused on her hair, calling her a nappy hair, her physical appearance, calling her a beast, her dating life, teasing about her inability to find a man. There are arguments that no jokes were directly mentioned her skin tone, but the stereotypes often drew about dark-skinned women.
Hair, calling her a beast.
So it was implied, it's implied. It's implied. But it was never directly mentioned. There we go.
Well, thank you for that ending,
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
Debate over.
All right. I guess that's gonna end it for us, guys. This has been Brothers and Friends. We
Back
all
at ya.
we all black, and we all love our black peoples.
We are not all
All
black.
We are all black. Who ain't black on this podcast?
Oh, on this podcast, yes, we are all black on this podcast.
We're in a world full of black people.
All right, y'all. Peace.
What's up?
Later.
Okay.
But
cool beans.
yeah, like, is there anything that's current event that y'all seen in the news that I want to talk about
As a new topic for
as a new topic for
later
next
time?
week?
Yeah, I felt like that OnlyFans teacher was kind of similar because I seen something on my feed about a teacher. She was just wearing like form-fitting clothes, and you know, people were going after her just because she was a black teacher wearing form-fitting clothes, and she was like showing off her curves. And so I felt like that whoever put that OnlyFans model topic.
Matter of fact, we were supposed to talk about that this week.
We were supposed to talk about
We
this
said we was
week.
going to, we said because
We
school
did.
started. We said we was going to talk about that
That's
this
what we
week.
did.
I
We
need
did.
a clarifying question. Like, what's going on with that?
And because school's starting, school was kind of starting. We was gonna have that be the topic, but the topic was if your child was being taught by an OnlyFans model, would you be okay with it?
So
Now
I feel
she's
like
not she's not teaching OnlyFans, which is what Fred thought. She's teaching like an actual subject,
But she's
But her side
doing
hustle.
OnlyFans.
but
Her
on her
side
side hustle, she's OnlyFans,
Is
and these
she
are high
like
school
sexual
students,
and stuff.
huh?
Oh,
Yeah, sexual.
Yeah.
And these
Yeah,
are high
I
school
gotta- yeah.
students who have internet and stuff like that, so it's not like they can easily
Yeah,
get
that
to
would
it.
be a problem.
That's what I was talking about.
So,
I ain't
then
talking
would
about like,
that make a difference?
huh?
Would it make a difference if it was like, what if she taught kindergarten where people couldn't access?
Yeah, would
No.
that make a
Like, what
difference?
No.
So
It'd
it's
be
no
like-
for
it's
you
the
no
same-
matter
it's the
what.
same thing.
I
as
just
the
throwing.
It's the same.
We ain't got to talk about it now. I just throwing that out as another.
We
like,
can we can
Right.
interlude. we can get people's little brief thoughts on it. Real quick, so we can stop it.
Stop talking about it. Stop talking about it.
Well, I try not to get the whole thing, but I
Yeah,
gotta,
no, just
I
don't
gotta-
get too deep.
Just make sure we don't go too deep.
Yeah, just don't
Okay.
get too deep.
Yeah, I just got to get my side of it to see where I fall.
But I feel like that's a
me
real
filling
life
it out.
example because I think the teacher that got fired was an elementary school teacher, so that, her students wouldn't have access to it, but the parents would.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, you
until
You depriving them
teachers
daddies.
until teachers are paid properly, I don't see how anybody could have a comment about anything that they do in their personal life. If it's not
So-
being brought to the student, like it's none of your business.
Yeah,
It's literally not.
Yeah, what's your quick 2-minute thought,
say that again.
Jerry? What's your quick 2-minute thought about other topics?
On this,
Yeah.
I'm indifferent right now. That's why I was trying to feel myself out to see what side.
Well,
I was on.
your initial reaction was a hell nah.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
hell no.
Well,
So
it
go off
wasn't
that
necessarily-
reaction.
It
Go off that
wasn't-
reaction.
And be a parent, not an employer. You're not an employer.
Thank you so much for listening to the Brothers and Friends podcast. Do you want to chime in on this week's topic? Well, leave us a comment for us to discuss on a future episode. But in the meantime, please follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Peace.